What's up, Guardians, and welcome back, Warlocks. I'm Profane, thanks for checking out the video. School's back in session once again as we dive into a new Prismatic build that will make it super easy to solo any dungeon in Destiny 2 right now. And it's not just great for soloing dungeons. You want to be able to take on Legendary and Master Lost sectors, Grandmaster Nightfalls, and other in-game level content? Well, this Prismatic build has everything you'll need to get those done. We've covered several great Warlock builds here recently, and I've got to say that this is by far one of the strongest and one of the easiest builds to use. It puts out a ton of damage, and it's going to give you several ways to stay alive and regenerate abilities quickly. This build revolves around the use of the Dawn Chorus exotic helmet. This exotic is attuned towards solar subclasses and the Daybreak super. But with a mindful selection of prismatic abilities, we can take the best benefits that this exotic offers and amplify its performance sevenfold. The Dawn Chorus comes with the Rights to Ember intrinsic trait. This grants a bonus to Daybreak projectiles, but we're not interested in that. What we're after is the 200% bonus in Scorch damage, and the 5% bonus melee energy that we'll get off of each tick of Scorch that an enemy takes. With an increase in Scorch damage, we'll be triggering ignitions all over the place, ripping through enemies as if we were dropping the Sun Bracers, but with enough survivability that you would think we're using the Speaker's Sight. Even though we are going to be focusing on the benefits that the Prismatic subclass brings, we are still going to address the best current options when using it on a solar build. But I've got to admit that after using it with Prismatic, I just don't like it nearly as much on standard solar. The Dawn Chorus increases the amount of Scorch dealt from any source, which means it improves the performance of any legendary weapon that comes with Incandescent. It'll also improve the performance of several exotic weapons, like the Sunshot, the Prometheus Lens, the Polaris Lance, and my personal favorite, the Dragon's Breath. There's not many top-tier damage weapons out there that puts in as much work as the Dragon's Breath, and when the Dawn Chorus gets added in, this exotic rocket launcher really steps up its game. It creates fire sprites, which will give us bonus grenade energy. It's perfect at covering adds, it's got great ammo economy, and it's an easy source of damage that lets you use all of your other weapons and abilities at the same time, and that can become a crucial component towards defeating dungeon bosses when solo. We'll talk further about our weapon choices here soon, but for now, let's talk about how we can efficiently use the Dawn Chorus with Prismatic. And that starts with our choice in super. We are of course using the Song of Flame, which is already one of the strongest supers right now. It's a roaming super that lets you spam your grenade and your melee abilities, while letting you use all of your weapons at the same time. And Dawn Chorus is going to increase the amount of Scorch damage that each of those grenade and melees are going to deal. What's even better about this is that we will also have our Transcendence buff, giving us essentially a second roaming super that lets us spam our melee ability, along with a combination grenade made of Void and Stasis energy. Those combo grenades will come in handy against champions, since they have the ability of stunning both Unstoppable and Overload champs. We're also going to be able to stun Unstoppable champions with our ignitions, and it's not just our super that will be able to trigger those. We also have the benefits of the Hellion aspect, which will give us a solar buddy that launches out solar explosions, which will scorch enemies. These are absolutely incredible. They automatically target nearby enemies, and with bonus scorch damage, they are so powerful. Our second aspect is Feed the Void, and this is what really sets this build apart from its solar counterpart. Defeating enemies with any ability, including our solar buddy, will trigger Devour. While Devour is active, every final blow will grant full health restoration and as much as 30% bonus grenade energy. The bonus health regeneration is what's going to get us through a lot of sticky situations. The bonus grenade energy will go great alongside any fire sprites that we pick up, helping us have our grenades back almost instantly. Now, we don't have the option of a solar grenade that deals damage, but we do have a healing grenade, and those will come in handy when Devour's not active, or when Devour's just not enough to get us through, or when a teammate is in desperate need of some health. We also have Phoenix Dive, providing us with another source of instant health recovery. When it comes to our melee options, we could go with the Incinerator Snap, but we've decided to go with Arcane Needles instead. The reason for this is because Arcane Needles will unravel enemies and will have 3 total charges to use. We'll still be able to use the Incinerator Snap whenever we activate Song of Flame. And since we are using the Facet of Courage, our solar abilities will deal 10% bonus damage against any target who's under the effects of darkness debuffs. This will make it beneficial to incorporate strand and stasis weapons that include perks like Slice or Chill Clip. The most consistent source of Scorch will come from our Solar Buddy, so to increase the regeneration of our class ability, we're using Facet of Hope. Whenever we have an elemental buff like Radiance or Restoration, our class ability will have a 60% increase to its regeneration rate. We're using Facet of Dawn, so whenever we strike enemies with a powered melee, we will gain Radiance. We'll also be able to gain Radiance whenever collecting orbs, thanks to the Radiant Orbs artifact mod. Having Radiance continuously triggered means that we'll be able to have that bonus class ability energy continuously procced. It also gives a 20% increase in weapon damage, with the added benefit of piercing barrier shields. We've got Facet of Awakening, which is going to create elemental pickups whenever rapidly defeating enemies with light or dark energies. This will predominantly help us generate fire sprites, which will give us additional grenade energy, helping us have those healing grenades much more often. We're also using the Elemental Siphon artifact mod, which is going to do the exact same thing, but it's strictly based on rapid final blows with weapons. And between these two, we're going to be able to create a shit ton of fire sprites. And the final fragment that we're using is the most important one. Facet of Ruin will cause solar ignitions to have an increased radius by 20%, causing them to be much more effective against dense groups of enemies. With Dawn Chorus increasing scorch damage, ignitions will trigger more often, so Facet of Ruin will really be beneficial. It also causes shattering effects from stasis to deal more damage, which gives us another reason to use stasis weapons with Chill Clip, Headstone, or Cold Steel. We'll be able to amp up the efficiency of Facet of Ruin and the Dawn Chorus with the use of the new Solar Fulmination artifact mod. This gives us another increase to the radius of ignitions, but it also causes each ignition to trigger twice, which is going to cause a lot more damage. Even with us having a healing grenade and using Arcane Needles, we're going to be able to pump out so much Scorch and trigger so many ignitions because of our super, our Solar Buddy, and our weapons. We have a few options of gaining bonus ability regeneration with some of the other available artifact mods. Counter Energy will grant bonus energy whenever stunning champions. Shield Crush will give us bonus grenade energy whenever we have Radiance, which does increase the strength of our combination grenade. Shield Crush would become a much more powerful option when used with the Solar subclass. We also have Transference, which will give us 10% increased grenade and melee damage whenever we're in our Transcendent state. Whenever using the Dawn Chorus on the base Solar subclass, the artifact mods that we've chosen will all still be viable. We'll still have Song of Flame and the Hellion aspect, but we'll have the Incinerator Snap along with a grenade that causes damage. The Touch of Flame aspect will improve the performance of any grenade, and with aspects like Ember of Char and Ember of Ash, we'll be able to cause even more Scorch. But more importantly, our ignitions will start spreading Scorch, which can easily set off a big chain reaction if you have a dense enough population of enemies. We have similar fragments in the Ember of Singeing, which would provide us with bonus class ability energy, and Ember of Torches, which would grant Radiance. In the end, I think the solar version of this build is more efficient at causing more damage, but you'll have much more survivability when used on Prismatic. We also have so many different abilities to use with Prismatic, including the benefits of Devour. As I mentioned earlier, the best legendary weapons to use with this build will be those with Incandescent, and one of the strongest options right now will be the Aberrant Action. This offers Heal Clip and Incandescent, so not only will you spread Scorch, but you'll have another source to instantly heal yourself, and I can't tell you how many times that's come in handy. There's also the Callous Mini Tool, the Perfect Pitch, the BXR Battler, Zeoli's Bane, and the Abyss Defiant, which are all great options, amongst many other great solar weapons. To further improve our class ability regeneration, we could also include legendary weapons that have Strategist or Demolitionist if we want to increase our grenade uptime even more. Solar snipers like the Aikilos will be able to benefit off of the Incendiary rounds and Sniper's Meditation artifact mods, which would give those weapons bonus damage after consecutive shots, plus the ability to cause Scorch, playing right into our use of the Dawn Chorus. We mentioned a few exotics already, but the Sunshot and Dragon's Breath are definitely the top two choices. But there is another exotic that I want to point out, and it's a very underrated weapon, and that's the Tessellation Fusion Rifle. This weapon has no natural energy type. It will always match that of your grenade, and that has some interesting benefits when used with Prismatic. This exotic functions a lot like the Izanagi's Burden. Its base shots are mediocre, but it's got the ability to absorb your grenade, and it converts it into a much larger explosive burst. And as you can see against Carl, this will deal out a ton of damage across a huge area. And with its catalyst unlocked, whenever we absorb solar grenades, those explosions are going to cause Scorch, and that would be a perfect way to make up for having a healing grenade. The Tessellation does regenerate bonus grenade energy. It regenerates 20% per kill. And because of our choices in Prismatic Class Tree and Artifact, we'd be able to generate those overcharged bursts over and over again, to an extent that I'm almost inclined to say that it's broken. With just one overcharged burst, knocking out a group of 3 enemies, that's an instant recharge of grenade energy. And keep in mind that Fire Sprites and Devour are going to give us grenade energy. So as long as we have special ammo, we'll be able to keep those overcharged explosives popping out. And if we get low on ammo, there's always the Special Finisher class item mod. Now, when it comes to our armor, the main stats to focus on will be Resilience. This reduces how much damage you take, but it maxes out at 30%. We also want to focus on Recovery. This will reduce how long it takes for our health regeneration to naturally kick back in. It also reduces the recharge time of our class ability, helping with the uptime of our Solar Buddy. We'll have our super energy back pretty damn fast, so I'm less inclined to focus on Intellect. But instead, I would rather focus on Discipline, which will help us have either grenade option back faster. And speaking of focus, if you find yourself coming up short in that department, then you might want to consider checking out some of the amazing supplement drinks provided by Advanced GG, like the new Strawberry Shortcake Mix, helping gamers stay awake and alert in those late night hours. And by using the promo code that's down in the description, you can get a discount on those mixes. Now when it comes to our armor mods, we'll have a good amount of freedom because our abilities will regenerate lightning fast on their own. We're still going to use a couple of mods to help with the regeneration of our abilities, like Impact Induction and Focusing Strike. But we're predominantly focused on giving our weapons bonus damage by using weapons surge mods. We'll need to be able to generate orbs to get armor charges to make that happen. We would also need armor charges to make special ammo finisher work. Harmonic Siphon, Reaper, and Elemental Charge will provide us with those armor charges. With one weapon surge active, we'll be able to have a 10% bonus in our solar weapon damage, but with 2, we'll be able to have a 17% bonus, and that's really going to make those boss encounters go by quicker and easier when you're soloing dungeons. With the overwhelming power that you'll have, and all the survivability that you would ever need, there's no better build to get you through the toughest of in-game content right now, not like the Dawn Chorus on Prismatic. This is a truly exceptional and unique build, so if you've not given it a try, then you really need to do so. With that said, that brings us to an end of today's video. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the Dawn Chorus and Prismatic Warlocks in general. Let us know down below. If you need any help putting together this build, then be sure to check out the Mobalytics link that's down in the description, where you'll be able to find a ton of great in-game builds. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel. If you're a new Light Guardian, just starting your journey, or a battle-hardened veteran that's looking for a new place to call home, then be sure to check out the Discord link that's also in the description and join one of the greatest communities in all of Destiny. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.